The story of Jabez Bennett. Some said he was cursed, some said he was finished. And maybe he was, because in Kelowna not every story ends with restoration. Suddenly one night, either through a dream, a vision, or deep within the hollow of his soul, he heard a voice. "Jabez, you ask me why. You cry out in the dark as though I do not hear. But where were you when the stars were flung across the sky? Do you know the depths of the ocean you've never seen? Do you hold lightning in your hands or tell the seasons when to turn? You see only ashes and think it is the end. I see the span of eternity. You measure my goodness by your wealth, your health, your children, things that can vanish in a moment. But my goodness is not fragile. It is not built on what can be stolen. You think you are abandoned because you do not feel my hand. Yet I was with you when your children took their first breath, and I was still there when they took their last. You call it silence, I call it presence deeper than sound. You demand answers as if they would ease the ache. But Jabez, you do not need reasons, you need me. I am not absent in your suffering. I am the God who enters it, who bends low, who suffers too. I am the God who was broken and yet lives. You will not always understand, but you can always trust. And though you stand in ashes now, know this. Ashes are what I use to grow new things. In time, slowly, not suddenly, his health stabilized. A new investor took interest in rebuilding Jabez's business, and people who had once turned away returned with support. He and his wife, after walking through the valley of grief, found healing enough to love again. He never forgot his children nor the ashes he had sat in, but his life found renewal. And Jabez said, when people asked about his journey, I thought faith meant blessing, but I've learned it means trust. Even in silence, God is not just the God of my good days. He is also God in my suffering, and somehow that is enough. In a world where everything can be lost, faith that endures the storm is the truest wealth. The book of Job's suffering was the result of a conversation between God and Satan in heaven, where Satan claimed Job's faithfulness was due to his prosperity and protection by God. God allowed Satan to test Job by taking his possessions and family to prove his integrity. Despite the devastating losses, Job remained faithful, praising God. Job 1 verse 21. Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. In our world today, the echo of Job's story would be less about explaining why and more about reminding Jabez and us of who is still present, even when everything else is gone. I hope you were blessed by this story from Church GIST and WAHALA.